Hello, welcome to the Live Rally Games podcast. My name is Steven, and I'm here for the premiere episode discussion of Survivor Bloomington. Survivor Bloomington is a game that takes place in Bloomington, Indiana, and there's been 4 seasons, but this season, season 5, the All-Star Seasons, is the first season that's video recorded and airing on YouTube. So today we're here to discuss the first 2 episodes of the premiere. And with me today, joining in as a guest host, is Drew. Drew, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm great. I am currently on vacation, but there's always time for Survivor. So I was very excited to be here with you, Steven. You've run the gambit of Survivor coverage on podcasts, so it's always great to talk with you.
Well, what I'm excited for today is, Drew, is like you've interviewed me for Victory House Small.
Yes.
I've interviewed you for Surviving Reelfoot, the most recent season. And now today we get to both talk together about a third game. So this has been a journey.
Yes, it has. I'm so excited to get into this. It looks like we have a great cast. I'm definitely excited to talk about some of the twists and turns that we've already seen just in the first couple episodes. So let's get into it.
Yeah, and the reason why Drew is here, because Drew, you had a chance to play Surviving Reelfoot with KC this last summer, correct? I know. We won't talk about that game anymore. We won't live. But.
No, so yes. So Casey and I met through Surviving Reelfoot season 10 this past summer. We did not get to play together. We started on different tribes, and I was first boot. But that doesn't mean anything. It's
just a number.
And after the game, Casey and I really connected. I think we both like pre-game were kind of like eyeing each other, like you're somebody I really want to work with or at least be friends with. And we became friends after the game. And he was like, "Hey, I run this game. Like, I'd love to have you take a look at it." And I was like, "Yes, I want to. Let's do it."
Yeah, and so I'm curious. So we've seen the first 2 episodes. What are your first thoughts about the episodes that you've so far?
For a first season that's being recorded, I am liking what I'm seeing. We're getting lots of confessionals, and I think confessionals, like camp life is great. It shows you kind of like how people are socializing, but then you get into those confessionals and you get kind of the unfiltered thoughts about what people are really thinking about each other. Because, I mean, Steven, you've played multiple reality games as well. You know that when you're in group settings, you have to kind of put on a face. You have to put on a front. But when you're in your confessionals, you can be like, "Oh my gosh, this person..." And we get like how you're really thinking, and I think they're doing a great job, especially with confessionals. I think the first couple of challenges have been great. I'm liking the advantages that we're being presented with, which we'll dive into. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, the brutal pace. That's what's really captured my attention. So most games, actually, no game I've played has ever had a day one elimination or eliminations. All the games I played have had like there's no vote outs till like at least to the following day at minimum. And so it's really fascinating to see a game that's like, hey, we're like, it's 4 days, but like there's no like safe zone day one. It's like, boom, you need to get going. And it really values like winning those early challenges make a huge difference to really kind of have a chance to bond with your tribe. And so like it was hard to get a sense of like how many hours that lasts, but I think episode 1 did we cover the first 3 or 4 hours of the game?
3 or 4 hours is what I was thinking. Yeah.
And like I was wondering, maybe because episode 2 doesn't really feature the bronze very much. I'm like thinking like, man, did they maybe roll straight from tribal to the next challenge? I don't know. And
possibly.
So it's a very quick pace. I'm curious to see how many vote outs will encompass day 1. I mean, with 18 players, you need 3 to 4 vote outs a day, right?
Yeah,
but potentially, especially like once you get the final 5, 4, you can maybe really pick up the speed.
You can pick up the speed once you get into the end game, yeah. But early game, yeah, really fast for the first vote off.
So I don't envy the players because that's really hard. And maybe I think what makes it better is the fact generally it is an all-star season. We have 15 of the players are all former Survivor Bloomington players, so there's already a lot of pre-made connections and knowing there that maybe can help expedite the game along.
Yes. I think it's fun that we have, with this being an All-Stars cast, we have kind of a variety, because sometimes you have All-Stars casts where it's all people who, have played super well in their past seasons, top 6, top 5, etc. And then you have some All-Star seasons, for instance, Survivor Game Changers comes to mind, where you have like a very wide variety of kind of placements and game styles. And then you have Survivor Bloomington All-Stars, which features people who haven't even played Bloomington. So I think it's an interesting dynamic to cast such a wide net of players. And I like it.
Let's talk a little bit more of the players. So I want to start by talking about the non-surviving Bloomington players. So we have 3 of them this season. We had Stacy, who's on the Brains Tribe, yellow. Connor, who's on the Beauty Tribe, blue, and Hannah, who's on the Beauty Tribe, blue. And so what I love about Stacy is the little monikers, like we know her placement from season 2, Real Foot, season 5, Real Foot, but there's so much more than that.
And then the 30 others that she's done as well. She played with you in The Mole, correct?
Yes, she's played. Yes. I played with her at Victory House The Mole. I played with her in Survivor BC, Rockland Valley in 2019, and I played with her in Pirate Survival Expedition 2017. And wow. So Stacy has extensive experience in these games, and I'm fascinated. Like I imagine the players have no clue to the extent of her experience, even though I imagine preseason they said, hey, all these new players are also all-stars in their own right. They've all had experience playing these games too.
Yeah, I love Stacy. My first experience with Stacy was when I did cover Victory House Mole, the season that you were in, and I love Stacy. And then I come to find out that she does like 2 or 3 games a year, and I'm like, okay, this girl knows what she's doing. I'm excited to see Stacy. I think that it makes a lot of sense to me that she's on the Brain Tribe because one thing I know about Stacy from my limited knowledge is that she knows how to strategize.
Yeah,
and I could also see her being on the Beauty Tribe. She has the social skills. She's very likable. I think that she's going to do very well. I don't want to get too far into predictions yet, but I have high hopes for Stacy.
Yeah, Stacy, I think routinely makes deep runs of the game she plays. And I think it's been a good sign on these opening episodes. You could easily think like, oh, the one outsider, maybe she'll be targeted, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Unlike Connor and Hannah, we don't see Stacy's name really floating around. But granted, for a Brains Tribe, I don't feel like we've seen a lot of strategy. But hey,
I agree. We've seen a lot of observations from the Brain Tribes in their confessionals, but we haven't seen a ton of like, oh, we're forming an alliance.
Yeah.
We're targeting this person. So I'm interested to see how that develops.
And then on the Beauty Tribe, we have Connor and Hannah. So Connor played Survivor Pacific Coast Trail, a 2021 game. The episodes aren't public, but so he came 6th place in that. Then Hannah played Survival Challenge 2018 with me, voted me out, and she came 4th place that season. And so you don't understand how inordinately excited I am to see Hannah play a second game, and how I was very much on the edge of my seat these 2 episodes, just like, oh no, is she going early or not? And it turns out like Hannah worked her magic and she played well. But
Hannah definitely worked some magic, and I definitely cannot wait to talk about that.
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk a lot more about Hannah in contrast to Connor, of like they're both coming kind of in from an outsider role and how they both kind of leveraged it differently.
Yes.
And then looking at the season as a whole, the 15 other players, we haven't seen their game, right? These games aren't public. So it sounds like a lot of the players have come back and volunteered and have some knowledge or experience of other people's playing styles. But we as viewers are learning about them for the first time. And so we have 2 former winners with Boogie on the Beauty Tribe and Adam on the Red Tribe. And then we also have like a full range from ranging like second place, 3rd place, all the way to first suit of the season.
Yeah. One question I guess I did have, and I probably should have asked Casey before jumping into this. So just looking back at what these players have played, the other seasons that they've played, I'm wondering if Surviving Bloomington is run almost like the challenge, where each season there are vets and newbies, because some people have played in seasons 1 and 2, some people have played in 2 and 3, some people have played in 1 and 4 or 3 and 4. So I'm wondering kind of what the casting process is, and if it's like a challenge sort of thing where there's vets, or if Casey's pulling from friend groups, or I'm interested to see how the casting works.
Yeah, and so that's something I haven't talked about as well as like one of the things I need to get from him as well is like, it seems like redemption is a common returning theme in these seasons. So a lot of players have one redemption. So it's not, I don't feel like we haven't seen a lot of people discussion yet of redemption, targeting people who are good at redemption. But I imagine that will become more of a thing as the season progresses.
Yes.
Of the Survivor Bloomington like returning players, is there anyone that caught your eye or you're excited about?
Yes, there are a couple. For some reason, I just like clicked with Griffin, I think. in my mind. I think Griffin is very telling in his confessionals.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way he speaks is very comforting. I think people are going to like him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Those who don't know him, I guess, will like him. Those who know him may have a working friendship or not with him. Elisa is another one who I think she had one of the earlier confessionals in the first episode, and I was like, yes, I like this girl. She's smart. She knows what she's talking about. She's just someone I clicked with very quickly. And then I know Hannah. I know both Hannah and Devonte. So I'm naturally kind of rooting for them. Devonte was supposed to play on my season of Real Foot, but unfortunately had to withdraw. And so I would have loved to have played with him. So, I mean, those are the people who stick out to me early. I'm interested to see over the course of a pre-merge or even a pre-swap how those opinions change. But I don't know, Steven, who stuck out to you?
Yeah, so outside of Hannah and Stacy, Devonte on the Beauty Tribe, I felt really good to me. Where we see Jordan like really kind of being a leader of the tribe, and we see Boogie has a target of a former winner. I feel like Devonte is in like that sweet third spot in that 3-person alliance where he has plenty of shields around him. And then strangely, Adam feels like he has the full package, right? We know he's a physical comp beast. He was rocking that memory challenge, right?
Yep.
He had his social games on point. No one was throwing his name out early, maybe because everyone wants him as that shield. But I was just like, wow, Adam, I feel like it might have a really good deep run unless he gets normally swap screwed this season.
Yes, I agree. When I think I somehow glanced over the fact that he was a winner when he was first giving confessionals, and then like I was seeing him and how he operates in camp, and I was like, okay, this guy like knows what he's doing. And then I think like his second or third confessional came up, and it was like winner, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like that fully tracks in my brain. Like I see how that happened.
And one other thing I want to mention, we talked about how like it's a lot of players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like there's 5 different players who play multiple seasons, and it really feels like there doesn't seem to be a season 1 versus season 2. We haven't seen any of that kind of seasons versus mentality yet, because probably there's so much bleed over between the seasons.
I agree.
And so I kind of want to talk about some of the interesting like game mechanics we've seen so far.
Yes.
So CBS introduced Shot in the Dark, season 41. We've seen it for 3 seasons on Survivor. It's been kind of so. I think it's caused some interesting wrinkles in this strategy, but effective, not really. And so we see Shot in the Dark being incorporated into this season. But one of the notable differences is your bullet casing, which is you'll use to play for the Shot in the Dark twist, is transferable, and you can stack them.
I love it.
This is really exciting.
I love it. It's my favorite twist that I have seen in a recent live game, a Survivor live game. I think it's a genius because even if you go into a situation where you're down and you're in a minority, a 3 to 5 minority, and you know who the 5 are going to target, well, let's give our, little bullet casings to the person who's going to be targeted, and they have a 50-50 of being safe. Like, that's genius. I love it. What were your thoughts on it, Steven?
Yeah, because when I was first seeing the John Dark, like I was like, what's how? I'm like, please change this up, because I think the CBS Survivor one has felt underwhelming in a sense. I think it's an interesting wrinkle to add, but then he's like, and it's transferable, and you can stack. It's like, oh, and like the fact that we've already seen a player try to bribe another player, which we'll talk about as well. I think there's gonna be a lot of interesting maneuvering with this, where there's still a cost. You still lose your vote to play it. So people just can't slam it down nilly-willy. But I am very hyped for how this advantage will change the season.
I agree. I think that it's probably not going to come into play early game, particularly. But I think if there were to be a swap, which we don't know if there's going to be a swap or not. Yeah, I think swap is where we're going to see some action.
And speaking of swap, there are mutiny advantages being placed in the game. And so it seems like the first time each tribe goes to vote, there is a mutiny advantage hidden in a little treasure chest on the voting booth. And so far, Braun and Beauty have both voted, and both tribes, one player has gotten that advantage. What are your thoughts on a mutiny advantage?
I like it because it can prevent you from being swap screwed. Swap screws, I think most people who are going into playing Survivor games, your first fear is being an early boot, of course. And then your next fear is if I get swap screwed. And I think if you have a mutiny advantage, that can circumvent that. I'm pro mutiny advantage, I think. Will it be used? If you use a mutiny advantage, in my opinion, it kind of puts a target on your back because it's like, oh, why did they not want to be on our tribe?
Yeah, if you used it on this original tribe, right? Let's say Mia got the mutiny advantage, and she was just the minority voting, right? And yeah, it'll probably raise some red flags, so it'd be a good move from her. But when you get to the swap and like you're kind of looking around saying, I'm outnumbered, outgunned, they're targeting me.
Yes, I agree. I think that happened recently on Real Season 10 that Casey was on. There was a mutiny advantage. There were 2 of them, and there was a second swap, and immediately both of the people who had them were like, absolutely not doing that, flipping back.
Now, one other, and it seems like we'll have to check with Casey, a series staple is the fact that there's redemption. And personally, like as controversial as redemption is on CBS Survivor, I do love it for live reality games because these games are short. People really go out of their way to come play these games, and giving people a shot to get back in the game is quite fun. What are your thoughts on redemption?
I'm interested to see how it's done because obviously we haven't been able to watch any other seasons of Surviving Bloomington. I'm interested to see if it's the same format as like a Redemption Island where there's a duel after every like pair or every trio, or if it's going to be more like Edge of Extinction where it's one single challenge with all the eliminated players. I am pro redemption in live reality games. I think very similarly to you where it's these people, you pay money, you fly out in some cases to play. Let's give them a chance to play. I mean, it doesn't hurt. The only thing, I mean, if you're playing with Survivor fans, like typical Survivor fans, typically redemption winners don't have a great shot at winning the game after coming back. But we'll see. I'm pro redemption.
Yeah, I agree with that. But given that all these players have played past season Bloomington, and it seems like we have several players who won redemption who are back in the game, I imagine players will see it as very favorable in a sense. They're not going to hold it.
I hope so.
Unless like you're the first person voted out and then you get back in for final 7. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out, but I am very, very pro.
So let's start with episode 1. And I want to start by just kind of walking through the tribes a little bit more.
Yeah.
And one thing I love is not only do we have Brains, Beauty, Brawn, but I love the descriptions for what makes someone a beauty tribe member. And so starting with beauty, it's like these are players who are known for social maneuvering, which man would be a very scary tribe to be on because you immediately said like, hey, these are probably some of the most dangerous players in the game right here.
Probably, yeah. I personally think that is probably where my best fit would be. I tend to be a very social player. And so I would feel right at home. I love it. I loved probably right now, sorry to break it to the other 2 tribes, but I think Beauty Tribe is probably my favorite at the moment, just because I think with social maneuvering being people's fortes, you get a lot of personality. And that is what I like to see. I love characters in live games. Especially, I think we're seeing a lot of personality from people like Jordan. We're seeing a lot from Devontae. We're seeing a lot from Hannah. I'm excited to see how this tribe develops. Hopefully we don't have a swap like in the next episode because I want to see at least 1 or 2 more episodes of this tribe developing.
Yeah, I would love to see like a swap at 14. Merge at 11 or something like that. Like swap the 2 tribes, then merge. I don't know. Whenever you have redemption, it makes me like having a more brutal pre-merge because I'm evil like that.
I'm pro small merge. I don't like larger merges, so I wouldn't be mad at like swap at 12, merge at 9. But I'm interested to see how
until you play a season that does it, then you hate it because you're like, oh man, I was in 10th place and I just missed the merge.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm interested to see how redemption affects sort of the format.
So in this initial beauty tribe, we really kind of see Jordan take on a leadership role. Now, granted, like we hear about Jordan taking a leadership role mostly from Hannah, but it's very interesting to kind of see Jordan kind of put in this light where Jordan goes, the tribe follows. Do you feel like leadership, like in a new player survivor season like that, leadership role is always a little bit dangerous because everyone's kind of trying to stay hidden, and then someone's
Well,
going
it was for me.
Yeah.
It was for me. I took on a lot of the leadership roles at challenges, and people did not like that. I think because just from what we're seeing, Jordan taking on the leadership role, I don't think will be dangerous for Jordan. Jordan seems to be at like towards the center of the social dynamics of the tribe. So I don't think at this time it's dangerous. But what are your thoughts?
I don't mind it either, right? I think on a returning season, especially with 6 players, like there's such little wiggle room, and anything you can do to kind of really cement your place in a tribe, it's worth doing, because quickly you realize that like you vote at one, you let's say you have one easy vote, then quicker like, oh shoot, what's my 3?
Yes, exactly.
There's just no breathing room from there on out.
And I like kind of, I guess, moving forward a little bit, but also still talking about Jordan. Hannah quickly noticed, like, okay, Jordan is in the middle of everything. Devontae is also kind of in the middle of everything. So let me get in with them. And I think that that's brilliant. Great job for Hannah, especially considering her name was being brought up as an easy vote.
Yeah, and so I think we see that core trio of Jordan, Boogie, Devontae really kind of forming. You kind of then have a Hannah faction, and then you have a Brianna and Connor faction. So you have kind of like it's kind of a 3-2-1 setup for the tribe, it looks like initially.
Yes, and Hannah quickly jumps into that 3.
Hannah, no, sorry. The next tribe is the Brains tribe. The Brains tribe, these are players who use strategy, cunning, and puzzle knowledge, which I personally would probably want to be on a Brains tribe. That'd be where I want to go.
I see that for you.
Yeah. And what I love about the Brains tribe is it feels like it's an utter, like, despite winning both challenges, like every time the Brains tribe on the screen, it has kind of a little bit of that goofy Survivor music, and they're all kind of wandering the woods, lost in the poison ivy. And
poison ivy.
What are these people doing?
Yes. Stephen, what would you do if you got into a camp and there was poison ivy everywhere?
Die. Slowly. I was just looking at this like, my gosh, this is my personal nightmare. I mean, and then my favorite part is like, they like lost their camps. They're like, where are we? We don't know. We're just like, what is happening?
That's funny. I loved it. Yeah, I feel like we haven't gotten a ton of dynamics necessarily from the Brains tribe. Of course, we do see Megan finding that immunity idol, which was kind of funny, but also people see it happening. So who is it that sees it?
So it's like change events. So Megan finds the idol. She's digging by the well, but then like someone else is there, but Dallas is there, but Dallas sees it. So Megan kind of hurries off and like kind of just thrusts the box into Stacy. Stacy, dispose of it. Stacy's like, all right. So she chucks the ball away. So you wonder, like, are we going to see this Megan, Dallas, Stacy come together because all of them know about the idol and this is kind of this shared secret inadvertently?
I could see that, but also knowing and seeing Stacy play all these games, Stacy is the type of person to think like, okay, if this person has this idol or this advantage, like they gotta go.
My favorite was Stacey's like, she's like providing advice like, hey, we're trying to get a fire. Why not use tampons so they burn easily? And Stacy has played a lot of these games.
Yes.
And kind of knows how to get this started. And Griffin's like, no.
Griffin's like, no.
My way.
I like Griffin so much, but he's not doing so hot socially. Which makes sense for the Brains tribe. You don't necessarily expect the Brains tribe to do
well. We're not seeing a Luzon 2.0 from Cagayan yet, so
hopefully we don't.
And finally, we have the Brawn tribe. And I love the Brawn description. It's not only like physical capability to win challenges, but also idol hunting was another key aspect, and that was fascinating to me.
Yeah, I want to know who on the Brawn tribe is known for finding idols. Because I don't feel like we necessarily get that disclosed.
No.
So I'd be very interesting to know who are the idol finders on Brawn.
So Drew, let's say you find yourself in a season in 6 players returning cast, and you have a former winner on your tribe. Do you target them immediately? Do you try to set them to meet shield? Like, what is your first instinct with that?
It's hard, and this is not going to be an answer. This is going to be very political. It depends on, do I know this person? How did this person play? Did they win
You're on the next season of Real Foot. Angela's on your starting tribe. What do you do? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, Angela's a queen. I'm keeping Angela in, and we're writing it out. But I don't know. It depends. How does this person play? Does this person have other connections on the tribe? Did this person win by a fluke, and people think that the runner-up was robbed? There are a lot of variables. I think specifically Adam on the Braun tribe is just so disarming.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I were there with Adam, I would probably not be. I would probably want to work with him, just to be completely honest. He just has something, like he has that it factor. I don't know.
I mean, I think I agree with you. I kind of, my initial idea is like, let's set them up as someone I want to work with who will be a lightning rod later on and give me more maneuvering around.
Yes. I'm not one to ask about Survivor advice, clearly, but that's just my read.
And neither of us ever won, right? We're armchair quarterbacking this.
Exactly.
And Meredith, kind of notes that same thing. It's like, hey, I see him as a meat shield. Hopefully I'm going to be unassuming here and kind of like sneak my way past.
I worry for Meredith. I know we're kind of jumping to Meredith, but I'm a little worried for Meredith.
I seriously thought she was going home. I did not. I was watching the episode like saying we're getting this false edit. She's dead to rights, and then she survived. It's like, well, never mind. What do I know?
Yeah.
We're going to talk a lot about that to unpack that.
Yes.
And then I think the only other thing, Braun Tribe, we get David noting that he and Mia played their previous season, wish they worked with each other, had it, and really say we're going to fix that this season.
Yeah, people can say whatever they want, but we'll see if it happens. Like, obviously, you've played these games and you're like, oh, I wish I would have gotten the opportunity to work with you. And then you end up in another game with them in the future. And again, it just doesn't work out.
Well, I've actually had that happen where I had a player who I'd spent 2 seasons with, and we never were once on the same tribe. We'd always one of us went out pre-merge, another one didn't. And we finally had a chance to be on the same season, and because we decided, why don't we work together? We've seen each other for 2 seasons. Why don't we finally play with each other? It ended up putting a target on our backs as a result of it. We're like, oh my gosh, they must be tight. And I'm like, I've never talked to this person beyond a single sentence before now. But
yeah, people say things, but we'll see if it happens.
Yeah. So in the Muni Challenge is this multi-part challenge where there's running and lifting heavy items. There is creating a stretcher, lighting torches, solving the infamous Spencer Bledsoe 5-piece puzzle, which I think people just had memorized, and it looked like once someone solved, you can maybe copy them. I couldn't tell. That ends with the fire making challenge. What did you think of this?
I love that they ended with fire making. I think that's great. It's very Survivor. It is an acquired skill set that you either know how to make fire or you don't. I liked it. I think it incorporated multiple elements. It incorporated brains. It incorporated brawn. And of course, important to Survivor is the fire making. I don't know, Steve, what were your thoughts?
I was impressed with how neck and neck it was. It was there was very little I think the puzzle stalled one of the tribes briefly, but it all came down to the fire at the end. It really came down to players using their bodies as shield against the wind to help their tribe get their fire going. I was surprised Hannah was in the fire role because we've done that kind of the exact challenge and survival challenge together. So but I think I think you're okay taking a step back when the other people take hero roles in these things.
Yeah, for it being a first challenge, it's a great way because you have all these different elements to kind of piece together, what is everyone good at? What's everybody going to step up to do? What are our strengths and weaknesses? I think it's a great first challenge.
And so we have 2 tribes win, the Beauty Tribe and the Brains Tribe, sending Braun Tribe to Tribal Council. And this is where we kind of, I think we need to talk a lot about, I think we both watched, I was watching this episode saying, Meredith is dead to rights. Yeah. And David's going to win out mainly because we saw earlier discussions with Adam saying, I don't know Meredith. She is new to me. I kind of like David and his laid back, easygoing nature. But I think the critical, we get this early confessional from Adam in the scramble. He was I am close to 2 people. Rosie / Andrew. I think, I don't know. He's close to Rosie. And he also said he was close to Megan.
Megan, right.
And I think that's what's so important here because Megan and Meredith were close.
Yes.
I think that played a huge factor in how the strategy evolved here.
I don't know.
Which is fair because I don't know either.
I'm confused, but
Okay.
not because of the editing. I just don't understand what the players are trying to do. Because taking out David here doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
We don't. So no one ever said, "Here's why we should take out Meredith," or "Here's why we should take out David." I don't think we ever got a discussion of why does anyone want either of these two players gone?
I mean, I will say that Casey did note that David being voted out first was the first time in Bloomington a male was the first boot. I don't know if there was a girl power kind of thing.
I mean, I don't think we didn't hear any discussion
We
around
did.
that. That was kind of like, hey, this is fun fact of what just happened just now. But I don't think that was
Intentional.
intentional or had any effect on the strategy of it all.
Yeah, I don't know. That one kind of threw me because I was like, okay, Meredith's going here. She was getting not like a ton of confessionals, but like people get confessionals on their boot episodes. I don't know that she necessarily fits in with the rest of the tribe socially. Maybe they're keeping her around as a free number later on.
So I have a couple of theories. So my first theory was that because Meredith is close with Megan and Megan is close with Adam, that swayed things, right? That Adam wasn't willing to push on Megan at this point.
Sure.
And so that's theory one. Theory two is Meredith is less connected than David. And I don't know how much
tribes.
Yes. So both David and Meredith had played 2 seasons. David was 13th season 2 and 4th season 4. Sorry, 6th place season 4. While Meredith was 10th and 11th on 1 and 2. And it feels like there's a lot more season 3 and 4 players than season 1 and 2 players. So
I agree.
Maybe David is seen as more threatening because he has more reach to other tribes than Meredith, who doesn't have as much.
Right, and if you look at track records from the past, it's like, okay, Meredith is what, 10th and 11th, correct?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, she's an easier vote that we can do later. David has more connections.
Yeah.
So I could see that.
So maybe it's like, we've seen David play a more threatening game, getting the 6th place. Meredith seems to always being cut off at right around merge, and therefore we're less worried about her than David as a later threat. So, and then the third theory is that, we have to talk about Meredith gives Megan her shot in the dark.
Yes. Interesting. I don't remember. It's been like almost a week. Do we get the explanation of why?
No, I don't think we get. Let me go back to my notes of this. I don't think we get a huge explanation as to why this occurred.
Because theoretically it makes.
Yeah, she just says like that. Meredith gave me her bullets. Like she just kind of says like, this is a thing that just happened. And it's
if Megan and Meredith are close, and Meredith's name is out there, and Megan is sort of the connection between the Power Alliance and Meredith. And I mean, Megan could have easily just been like, "Hey, like your name's out there," and Meredith would be like, "Well, here, get my name not out there. Flip it on David."
Yeah,
like I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe it's hard to say. Like, was it a bribe where like Meredith hears she's being targeted, gives it to Megan, or maybe like Meredith just gives it to Megan, say, "Hey, I really want to work with you. I don't really have anyone right now. I want to give you this as a sign of my loyalty and friendship with you." They kind of really seal the deal. We don't get really a sense of how this went down, and so it could be a bribe, could be a show of loyalty on top of a bribe. It's hard to say.
Yeah. I'm hoping we maybe hear more about that soon.
Yeah.
But maybe it won't mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
I was wondering, like, was this premature for Meredith to do? I mean, we know she doesn't get voted out, right? And who knows if that would have changed had she not given the shot in the dark. But it feels like, I don't know, given that you only have one of these, and like you said, most of the best use is probably bulk using it as a tribe in some sort of weird swap situation. I don't know.
I will also say, oh no, I lost my train of thought. I will also say Megan gives me loyal vibes. I don't know if that's the case or not. So if Meredith knows that Megan is a loyal player, even if this may have been premature, if Meredith is in danger in the future, it definitely incentivizes Megan to step up and help more.
Yeah, because when I was looking at this tribe, I was always wondering, like, do we have duos here? You have a David and Mia duo. You have an Adam, Rosie duo, then a Megan Meredith duo. But again, it's not quite around that. But the other thing to note in the scramble is Mia does find a hidden immunity idol.
Yes, good for her.
Which she will need, because at the vote, she is blindsided with David going home. 4 votes on David, 2 votes on Meredith, with Mia being the only person on the wrong side of the numbers.
I hope that at some point we get some sort of explanation to Mia.
Yeah.
About like why she was left out of the vote. Yeah. Because otherwise, if I'm Mia, the next tribal council I go to, regardless, I'm playing the idol.
Yeah, if I was... if I had a Survivor Bloomington wish list, I look forward to us revisiting the Braun tribe. I want to hear about Mia's response to being blindsided, Meredith and why she gave her shot in the dark to Megan, and what does Adam want to do next?
Yep. Because Adam's calling the shots. Yeah.
And the final thing is, at the voting booth, this is when we learned there's a mutiny advantage. Yeah. And Adam does, so it was fun. Megan is the first one to go vote. And she finds the mutiny advantage because she looks around, because I do love the setup and all the props. She looks in the chest, takes the mutiny advantage. We see Adam go later. He's like 4th in lineup or something like that. He looks, it's no longer there. He doesn't get the advantage. So Megan walks out the mutiny advantage, and she has a second shot in the dark. And Adam, and that's what I was saying. We were talking earlier, I should have rewatched to see, was it seating order? How is seating order determined? Was it just luck going to play with who voted first?
Is it voting left to right and they choose their seats? Is it production saying who wants to vote first, who's ready to go next, sort of thing? I'd definitely be interested to ask KC about that.
Yeah, just because it was, and part of it's oh, it's so obvious. It's right in front of players, right? It's right there. Why didn't everyone look? And you've played this thing, you get in the zone.
Right? Yeah, your mind is set. It's like when you're watching Survivor, and it's how are they not finding this super obvious hidden immunity idol? And then you're in the game, and you're like, I have no idea where to look.
Laser focused.
Yeah.
All right. So, I think that's all I want to talk about for episode 1. Is there anything else you'd like to bring up?
No, I thought that episode 1 did do a great job of giving everybody some screen time for the most part. I think we're starting to get to know players very fast start.
Yeah, because I think episode 1 encompasses 3 hours, 4 hours of the time. Probably. It's a very quick to that first vote out too.
Yeah. I don't think I have any other thoughts, but I definitely have some thoughts on episode 2.
Well, why don't we get into that? So episode 2, we don't see the Braun tribe, but we start with the Beauty tribe, where I think one of the most interesting things is there was a reward challenge that wasn't aired, right? And when they're looking to supplies, that's so. When you ever heard someone's like, "Oh, there's a reward. We found this reward." There was a opening reward challenge that wasn't included in the episode where players got supplies from.
Yes,
and so that's where players are finding those clues to idol and those rewards. And Brianna finds a clue and just kind of publicly shares it. Hey, because she kind of finds it in front of everyone too and doesn't hide it. So just immediately is look at this. I have an idol clue.
Brianna, bless her. That's all I have to say. I don't think that she should have done that, but I also can't really be too harsh on her because I've made the same mistake. So, I guess it helps build trust theoretically, but that's the only pro I see.
I think it washes your hands of it, right? Basically, I think it's kind of a net neutral. It's hey, I found this. Here we go, everyone. It's off my hands, right? You can't pin it to me. If you're going to build trust, you find it, you secrete it, or maybe if you notice someone sees it, you go up to each person and say, hey, I want to let you know, I found this. Let me share it with you. Here's what it has. I do plan on sharing it to other people as well, but I wanted to come to you.
Yes.
I don't know. It's a
what were your thoughts on? Would you have shared it?
Not if I could help it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if everyone sees me with it in my hand, I just put it in my pocket. That's a little bit more. I have to feel very confident about where I am in the tribe. If that was the case, I immediately go to my number 1 and 2 and say, all right, here's the goods. it's our three things. Like I care for us, and if we want to bring it forward, let's share it with them too.
Yes, I think we're on the same page with that.
Yeah. And this is where we get Hannah giving us the breakdown of the tribe, where she says, "Hey, there's this trio: Devontae, Boogie, Jordan." And I kept laughing. She kept calling him Bingo instead of Boogie, which
Bingo, yes,
I can emphasize because man, when I played Surviving Reelfoot and I had Gyra on my tribe, I could not remember his name to save my life. I had to go this whole like thing to get to his name. It was so bad. It was like 4 days in, like, what is his name? Why can't I remember Gyra? What's going on with me?
I think the same thing happened to me with Sebastian. Sebastian was on my tribe, and I, for some reason, kept wanting to call him like literally any other names until he was like, "Oh yeah, you guys can call me Bash," and I'm like, "Great." Now I won't be able to remember a nickname or your real name. So I definitely understand, and that's really funny. It's also funny because Hannah is not one of the Bloomington returnees, and so all these other people probably know each other, and Hannah's coming in calling people the wrong name, which I think is really funny.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, and what I love is how she immediately like is like looking and figuring out the power structure, right?
Yes.
For she immediately has the, and she like knows like this is what's happening. I need to get there. Because one thing I was wondering, like, what's unique about the Beauty Tribe is you have two players with no connections, Connor and Hannah, and we don't really get a sense of either of those players trying to work with each other. Instead, it ends up being like we need to bust the other player.
I think so in episode 1, obviously, like you said, Connor and Hannah are the two that don't really have connections. Episode 1, I guess I'm wondering why it was just like, oh, Hannah's the easy vote. Like, why wasn't it like Connor or Hannah is the easy vote?
I'm not quite sure because we get like an early discussion on the Beauty Tribe. I can't remember who says it. I'm looking at my other set of notes where I typed up way too much. So Devontae has a confessional. He says, "Hey, I'm feeling good vibes." Oh, hey, it's just me. We'll have Drew return in a moment. He has here we go. All right, he's back. All right, so there's a confessional on the Beauty Tribe in episode 1. Devontae says, "I'm feeling good vibes. I'm really bonding with people. This is kind of fun, scary, and I'm feeling good about Boogie, Jordan, and Connor." He names those 3 people he's feeling good with early on. And so he's like, "I'm feeling like we're going to form a foursome and leave the other 2 girls out, Brianna and Hannah." So we kind of see that episode 1. However, what we'll talk about what happens in episode 2 is I think Jordan is the key person here.
Yep.
Why Connor gets in so much trouble.
Yes.
Because Jordan has like these confessionals where she's like, "I haven't spoken to Connor, and I feel uncomfortable with Connor." And I think that's his undoing.
Yeah, especially in such a fast-moving game, you got to make your rounds. Obviously, you can't talk to everyone all the time. We know we reach a point where there's a time crunch, and so you focus your time on talking with the people in your alliances. But when it's your tribe's first vote, you got to make your rounds. You got to talk to everybody and get to know everybody in the beginning of the game. And it looks like that's something that Connor maybe didn't do so well.
Yeah, and like that's what I don't know what the format of Survivor Pacific Coast Trail was, because it definitely really changes things. Whether like, first of all, there's the vibe of the tribe, right? You know, how fast are people going? Are they going slow? They're going fast. You want to kind of like be within. You want to be within those set invisible parameters. You have that one thing, right? But also just like how like when does the first vote out occur? The fact you have day 1 vote outs, like you kind of need to go faster, right? You kind of need to get in there and say, "I like you. I want to work with you. Let's stick together," and kind of like get that out there and kind of open up those inroads. Because like, and Hannah had like discusses, like I had this conversation with Jordan, say, "Hey, I really like you. I feel good about you. Let's work together." And Jordan's like, "Yes, keep us on the down low." And Hannah's like, "I know she's saying that with everyone, but what choice do I have at this point? I'll roll with it."
Right. It's your only thing that you can do. Like, what are you going to not tell people you want to work with them and then just be the first boot? Like,
yeah. But I always think of like, you know, the opposite, of course, is what Aubrey Bracco had in Edge of Extinction, where she has like essentially the same conversation with every player. And everyone just compares notes as like, she's saying the same thing to all of us here. What's going on?
Which is funny. I'm glad that Hannah didn't do that. I think Hannah solidified herself in a decent position. She's set up to at least make a swap, I think.
Yeah.
Good for her for having correct reads. Yes.
And then we see the Brains tribe, and one of my favorite things with the Brains tribe is they have a camp set up. So they're not just sleeping in the poison ivy of the poison oak. So that was a great thing to see.
Right?
A tent, a tarp. They're not just like wandering around lost entire episodes. So it was very heartening to see that happen.
There was also I don't remember which tribe it was on, a giant tub of peanut butter. I was like, oh my gosh.
Was that the beauty tribe that Connor's eating out of?
I think so.
Okay.
I was like, wow, that's a lot of peanut butter.
Like for a four-day game, I've seen a lot of food so far. I think I'd like to play Bloomington because I would starve the least amount of all the games I played.
Yeah, I was like, Realfoot, I got voted out on day 3 and I didn't eat. Like, except for the reward, the one food reward we won. Otherwise, I like didn't eat.
And granted, I feel like when you play these live games, I think there's a mentality to hoard food to your detriment as well. So,
yep. I agree.
And we don't get a much pivotal discussion of the Brains tribe. We do hear from Dallas, and Dallas kind of lays out, I'm talking to Griffin and I'm talking to Megan separately at this point, but I think we're all kind of like, yeah, we'll look out for each other. And I think that in his mind, that would kind of be a threesome alliance that would form.
I feel like the Brain tribe, especially because they are the Brain tribe, are obviously they're going to take time. They're going to sit back. They're going to observe. And I think that that's what we're seeing a lot of is people getting feels for each other. And the moment they lose a challenge, it's going to be an all-out scramble.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from that tribe.
With the editing style, a lot of what we're seeing is mostly being told through confessionals.
Yes.
But we do get one strategy talk from the Brains tribe. We see Griffin and Stacey together. And this is Stacey says that Alyssa said that Dallas is dangerous. Right. And so we kind of have like Stacey revealing like, hey, Alyssa might be worried about Dallas. So we'll have to see if anything comes with that from later on.
I mean, looking at Dallas's track record, his placements are 8th and 9th. I mean, if you can consistently make it to merge twice, I mean, I could see potentially the threat level there. I don't know. I want to see more Brain tribe.
Yeah.
I want to see more dynamics.
Yeah. So the mini challenge is a memory challenge where players from each tribe race out to see a set of tiles and they have to come back and recreate that order. First tribe to find 5 wins. Like the last challenge, this is a very neck and neck challenge where it comes down to a 4-4 tie. And in the end, Alyssa wins for Brains, and then Adam and Boogie show down, and Adam wins for Brawn.
Yes, I thought this was a great challenge. I mean, they've done similar challenges on older seasons of Survivor, but it's a great challenge. I tend to think I'm good at memory, but I don't. I think I'm good at memory, but then both of the memory challenges I competed in on Realfoot, I kind of was like, oh, maybe not. This would not have been a great challenge for me, I don't think. But I think that overall, people kind of impressed me.
Well, one thing, like, especially that last round, not only had to get the order, but like the positioning right too. I was like, oh my gosh, that is hard.
It is hard, and that's why I was so impressed. But yes, ultimately, the losing tribe is the beauty tribe, correct?
Yeah, and Adam really impressed me, right? Not only like we know he's a physical threat, we know he's on the game, but like we know he's in the middle of alliance and he's winning the memory challenge. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see why this guy won his season.
Yeah, Adam continues to impress me. Like I said earlier, I see why he won. He's a full package. He's likable. He's smart. He's strong. I'm interested to see, is it possible, Steven, we have a 2-time winner by season 5?
That would be pretty great.
I genuinely could see it in the cards for Adam.
So Beauty Tribe losing was like my worst time. Like, oh no, I know Hannah's being targeted.
Yep.
And she's going to tribal council. This is the person I'm rooting for the most, solely because I played a game with her. What's going to happen? And I was delightfully shocked with how the post-challenge scramble worked out.
I think because Hannah made those reads, she knew to act on them, and she was successful and able to get the target off of her. Now, I'm not crediting Hannah necessarily with the Connor boot, but she was good enough to at least get the target off of her that was very clearly there.
And I love hearing her kind of walk through. She's like, I saw that Jordan was kind of the center of the camp. Let me see if I can find her exactly how she explained it.
Because she starts off by saying that Jordan is the center of the camp, and she kind of talks about that trio of Jordan, Devontae.
She sees people kind of making that immediate eye contact. She's like, okay, boom, boom, boom. These are the three. I need to get in there.
Yeah, and it makes sense in a tribe of 6. If you have 3 people who are clicking immediately and you join in as the 4th, yeah, you might be on the bottom of that 4, but that gives you 2 free votes to make it through.
Yeah. And so Hannah, I think, does a great job kind of like getting into the power structure. And Connor, on the other hand, I think has, I guess, 2 key missteps. The first is like, apparently the tribe is walking to the water well, and Connor turns back, goes to the tribe camp and returns. And Jordan's like, I think he got the second clue's an idol. But now we don't hear from Connor anything about this. I assume that didn't happen, but something he did there kind of made himself a little sketchy. And then
I was confused by that. Why did he do that? I don't.
It could be simple as he left his water bottle, turned around, grabbed it, returned. Right?
Exactly.
It doesn't take much to spook people in a fast game like this.
It really doesn't. Another personal anecdote from Reelfoot, because again, Reelfoot's the only reality game I played. There was a day where we had to like dry our shoes or something, and 2 people were like, "Oh, Drew, do you want me to take your shoes up, put them in the sun so they can dry?" And I was like, "No, I'll bring them." And they were like, "Oh, Drew's trying to get in on our conversations." And I'm like, something that small can start such a domino effect. And it could have been, I mean, if that's what it is, any reason early on to vote someone out, you take. As if it's not you, you take it. Yeah. And I think that was the start of kind of that.
Yeah, because it snowballs. So then everyone's kind of hunting for this like idol clue, and Connor just isn't. He's like, I'm not an idol. I'm more a peanut butter bananas guy eating food. And everyone's like, oh, why isn't he searching? Is it because he already found it? I don't know.
Yeah, Connor, you got to look for idols.
Yeah, it's like if whatever the tribe's doing, you want to kind of be doing the same thing. Even
don't
if
stand out.
Pointless.
Yeah, don't stand out.
And then I think the third strike is George is like, he hasn't talked to me. I haven't strategized with them.
And Jordan being sort of the center of that tribe as the shot caller, essentially. I think we're looking at Jordan and Devontae kind of being the shot callers here for this tribe. And if you haven't talked to Jordan, you gotta go.
Yeah. I'd love to see I'd love to hear more about Boogie's game and how he won his season.
I agree.
Yeah, because he's very nervous and on edge in this scramble. That's probably because there's several different plans, right? There's what we know is the true plan of Hannah, Boogie, Devontae, and Jordan voting out Connor. There is the there is the plan they're telling Connor and Brianna that, hey, we're voting out Hannah. But then there's the fake plan that Connor is telling Hannah, oh, we're voting out Boogie.
Right. Lots of layers. I was happy to see that Connor actually played the strategy portion, although it was too little too late. But I was very happy to see that everyone was actively playing in the round.
Everyone was playing. I mean, Connor did a good job because he and Brianna seemed very lockstep. It was just, it was just the issue of they weren't, the people, the other 3 members of the tribe weren't in agreement with them, right? So he had done some stuff right, but I think not doing what Hannah did, where kind of identify what is that power structure getting in there. Because I think at that point, Jordan's like, man, Hannah is pledging herself to me, and Connor's a nothing. Why keep Connor?
Yes, and I will also say, because we haven't talked about Brianna very much, good for her for finding someone and getting in good. I know she said that she was the first boot the last time that she played. So good for her for not being first boot. Congratulations, Brianna.
And so I think either there needs to be a shift in what's going on in the dynamics of the tribe for Brianna to get to the next round, or the Butte tribe just needs to win some more challenges. But
we did hear Devontae say that he's itching for a blind side. Like he's ready to go, he's ready to play. And so I'm wondering if that tribe loses again, could the itch be too much and Devontae flips? I mean, there are so many possibilities of things to do.
There's plenty of time, but what do I know? Now, at Tribal Council, much like with the Brawn Tribe, there is a mutiny advantage hidden, and Hannah, through however these forces work, is the first to go to vote, and she is searching everything. She's looking under everything. The only thing she doesn't do is open up the treasure chest.
Mm-hmm. But guess who does?
Devontae.
And finds that mutiny advantage that we were talking about earlier. Yep. I think knowing what I know about Devontae loves a dramatic reality TV moment. I could see Devontae using it, and it will be very fun when he does, if he does. But as of now, he doesn't need it. So we'll see what happens if we get a swap.
So with that, we have 4 votes Connor, 2 votes Hannah. Brianna's left out of the loop. So is there anything else about episode 2 you want to talk about?
No, we covered. I think we covered pretty much everything I had to say. I'm looking forward to seeing some more dynamics as they social dynamics as they develop, and to see if these mutiny advantages will be used. The mutiny and the shot in the dark. I'm very interested to see how those develop through this.
I'm
game.
surprised no one tried to be cute and try to extract the shot in the dark out of the people getting voted out this round. I mean, that's probably like dangerous gameplay and way too cute to try to like harvest people's shots in the dark before they get voted out. But it'd been interesting if someone had tried.
It makes sense. I just think that maybe because of the pace of the game, players have not thought that deeply into that strategy yet. And especially since it's a new twist, there are lots of strategies to try out.
Yeah. So Snyder has a question. Do you think the mutiny will be used? I don't think we're going to see it come out until a swap happens.
Yeah, I think if there's a bad swap for a player who has it, it will definitely be used. But I don't think we're getting it used pre-swap.
Yeah, especially because both players who have the mutiny are in the majority alliance of their tribes at the moment.
Yeah, the only chance I see it being used is if brains go to tribal council and it's like a 4-2 situation, and the person who gets it is one of the 2 that did not go out.
Yeah. So in this last segment, Rob has the podcast, has the Chizzy. It's only suiting that we have the Bloomy. The Bloomy will award to one player from each episode that we think played the best. You and I talked a little bit pre-recording that you were maybe a little torn on who you wanted to give this to, but let's start with episode 1. Who would you want to give the Bloomy to?
Jordan. I think that Jordan set herself up quite well on her tribe. Jordan's not in danger. Jordan will be a huge threat when merge comes around, but I have zero doubt in my mind that at minimum Jordan is making merge. The gameplay is great. That's all I have to say.
Wow, that's interesting because I went for Megan on the Brawn tribe to give it to, because I was very impressed for, that fact that she has Adam as a strong ally. She was in the majority at the votes, which I did not think was happening. She gets Meredith to give her shot in the dark token, and she gets the mutiny advantage. Right? This was like that was probably like, despite going to the first tribal council, I don't think there's a lot more you could want to go right. That's maybe if she also found the idol had been too much, but that is a very good first round for Megan overall.
I agree. Megan was the person that I was torn with. So I'm glad that you gave yours to Megan. What are you thinking for episode 2, Steven?
I have to give it to Hannah. I have to give it to, we had this 2-episode story of Hannah being on the bottom and Hannah saying, boom, boom, boom. These are the 3 people that matters. Let me get in there. And she does. Yeah. I don't think very often you see a player can pick out the structure from a game at get-go, weasel their way in and change things up. Because I think had Hannah not done that, I think Connor would be sitting pretty right now. But Hannah was able to get in there. I've been
bragging about. Sorry.
No, yeah, Hannah was able to get in there, and I was very happy and surprised to see that. And I think she really gets the Bloomy for best gameplay of that episode.
Yeah, I've been high on Hannah these 2 episodes. I think I've outlined multiple times through this recap how much I really, really enjoyed her strategy and being able to get into that majority. Mine also goes to Hannah. Great job. Yeah. Great gameplay.
And I guess runner-ups that have for people were consideration, Jordan would definitely be up there. From the Beauty tribe, Adam from the Brawn tribe, and then from the Brains tribe, we saw Megan get the idol. though she maybe wasn't as sneaky as she wanted. So it's not. There's some other players who know about it, but again, we just don't know about the brains dynamics very much yet. They kind of have a strong idea of what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you. I looked at Elisa as well, potentially. But yeah, otherwise I'm pretty much with you. I mean, Stacy, I think generally always does well in these games. So Stacy's someone maybe to keep an eye on for the future. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
So, do you want to make any bold predictions for next episode?
Oh, bold predictions. Bold predictions. My bold prediction is that if Beauty loses again, Devontae will want to make a move.
Okay, that would be exciting. And so you see him want to take out Jordan, or
I need to look back to see who he's closer with, because I can see him wanting to snipe out a winner in Boogie.
Yeah, I think Beauty is going to not find their idol, because I was impressed that anyone found their idol to begin with, considering it was buried. Though I guess the fact it's buried by the water well makes it a little bit better.
Yeah,
I think Beauty struggles to find their idol, and I think maybe we'll see Brains go to Tribal Council, and we'll get to see how things shake out there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Other than that, Steven, any thoughts that we have not covered yet?
No, I think I want to see follow-up from the Beauty Tribe. I want to see follow-up from the Brawn Tribe. I want to kind of see where things are lying there. I'm curious as to how many more votes we'll push through this first day, whether this will be one more vote out, or then we'll call it a night, or we'll do a second vote out. We'll have to see.
Yeah, knowing Casey's pretty organized. I could see a situation where we end day 1 with a swap. The swap is through day 2, and then day 3 is a merge, but that would be a long day 3. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested. I'm invested in these players now. Great job to Casey and to all of the editors, all the cameramen, everyone involved in production. Great job so far. I personally cannot wait to continue watching and see what develops.
Yeah. I think that's all from me as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching us today. Survivor Bloomington episode 3 will be coming out later this week at some point. Drew has joined me as a guest host today, but I will be with someone new for this next recap episode. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I think that's all for me. Drew, any last words?
My last words are peace out.
All right. Peace out, everyone. Take care.